Hi, everyone. Welcome back to 78 Reflections. My name is Patty Elaine, and I am a day late, but actually right on schedule because I was away over the weekend having a fabulous time with family, and had a really great trip. So I am doing this on Monday instead of Sunday this week. But it's kind of my Sunday because I've been off work, going back tomorrow morning. So it feels like a Sunday to me. So if you don't know, for my week ahead spreads, I have chosen 8 focus areas of my life. You can see represented on cue cards or index cards. And then I have selected a deck to go along with each of these. And I am drawing a card for the week ahead, asking the question, what do I most need to know for the week ahead regarding this category of my life? So we will start with prosperity. So prosperity is about my financial wellness, mindful spending, snowball payments, my budget by paycheck workbook, and Money Mondays. So the guidance that I received is the 5 of Swords. So this deck is the Book of Shadows Tarot, and it is the So Below. And that is an interesting depiction of the 5 of Swords. But I actually think it makes a lot of sense, just kind of zeroing in on this image here. What you see is someone in the middle celebrating, and the other two maybe not as enthusiastic. And what's coming to mind for me regarding prosperity is it's hard to feel like you're winning. And, like this past weekend, for example, I went away and spent some money, and then there's always this feeling about, is it worth it? Because I would say in the area of adventures, which is friends, family, and fun, winning. But in terms of true, if you think of prosperity in terms of saving money, then I would say that I would feel like maybe I wasn't winning. But when it comes to what matters most to me, which is, relationships and connections, then I feel like I am winning. So what I'm getting from this card is, not to think about prosperity in such a black and white sort of way, in that it's also about living a happy life and having like mindful spending isn't about not spending money. It's about making wise choices. And this was something I planned for a long time. I booked this trip in, I want to say, November or December. So it wasn't a last minute decision. And it was with people who are really special to me, and definitely a worthwhile way to spend money. But, from the perspective of my bank account, it might be feeling one of these. All right. So the next category is refuge. So refuge for me is spirituality. And so there's different things that I'm doing on the refuge category. And part of it is using the Season of the Witch Oracle decks. And that has been a fun way to connect with his habits. So this card is from the Book of Shadows, and it is the As Above deck. And I love this image. And I know I'm going to mispronounce it, but I'm familiar with this image from my trip to Bali because she's a Hindu goddess, and I believe it's pronounced Lakshmi. And this is a beautiful card for refuge because, this goddess is about wellness. And you can see she's sitting on a lotus flower here, and the elephants behind her. The 9 of Cups is typically known as the wish card. And I think this is a beautiful representation of that, particularly within the category of refuge. And so for me, a lot of this abundance depicted through this goddess is really about, it's the more you give, the more you get. And I think that that's a really great message when it comes to refuge, because I do think you get it out of it, what you put in, plus more. And so that's a great message for the week ahead. Vitality is next. So vitality is health and wellness, and it is about eating healthy food, nutrition. It's about sleep. It's about taking good care of my body. And the card is a tornado, healing chaos. Well, I think this is an appropriate card for the week ahead because I am going into a frenetic work week, and I'm actually really concerned about just getting back today, feeling pretty tired, and knowing what I need to accomplish this week to prepare for my work trip, which is I'll be leaving on Sunday. And so I do feel as though I am going to be in a tornado this week. And when it comes to health and wellness, that's not ideal. But what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that there is some calm despite the storm, and the butterflies. The butterflies are there, I think, to say about you can have beauty with chaos. And, I think that this is an encouragement to me to find stillness in the chaos and to still find ways to take good care of myself, even when I'm feeling the work pressure. So now let's go to insights, which is learning and personal growth. A lot of this is to do with learning about the tarot, but it's also my deck and stroll, learning about astrology. This is the learning part of it, and the part that goes on my YouTube channels goes under pursuits, which is a little confusing, but well, this is the Lord of the Forest in the Witch Sisters Tarot, which is the Devil card. And yes, I think in the perspective of insights, because the devil is about the chains that bind us, and it can be about the choices that we make, if we make healthy choices or not. And I think particularly when I'm struggling, when I'm feeling that a lot of my world in the coming week is going to be focused on work. And I accept my life that it ebbs and flows. But I think what the Devil card is telling me for the week ahead is that it doesn't have to be all or none. And so I feel like that is, it's an interesting here to say, you can still make wise choices. Even here, there's go where the peace is how I interpret that. And I almost interpret the devil in the same way. So next is stewardship. So this is care of my property and assets. I think I nailed this last week. I feel really proud of myself. And for the week ahead, we got the moon. Well, I love the moon, but I have some trepidation when it comes to the moon card, because the moon is about what are you not seeing? And so I think that almost similar to these two cards, it's an encouragement not to ignore this part of my life, even though I'm feeling as though I have pressure in other areas. So I think this is an encouragement to think about, what do I need to shine the light on? And are there any areas of stewardship that need my attention in preparation for going away on a work trip? Pursuits. Pursuits is passion projects. And the Queen of Pentacles. Look at this really interesting card. So this is the Tarot Landscapes Tarot. This is a really interesting image. I'm just going to see if I have the guidebook handy, if I can take a quick look, because I'm not sure. Is that a bear or is that a pig? I'm not really sure. Let me just take a quick look. I have the guidebook here, the Queen of Pentacles. So we know that, Pentacles is about things on the earthly realm. And so it's usually about things we can see, feel, and touch. But this is in the top. The question was regarding my pursuits, so my passion projects. So how might that come into play regarding okay, it's a mountain lion. What? Still don't see it, to be honest. But okay. Let me know if you see the mountain lion there. A mountain lion walks slowly through the fall woods. Oh, look closer. It's actually a large bear who owns the wisdom of the cave of the long winter sleep of hunger. She's as old as the rock, brown like the crowns of the trees in the harvest season. She is the Queen of Pentacles. Place and animal, a space that protects and regenerates, opening each other in invitation. She shares her resources and asks you to take good care of yours. Okay. Well, I think that that's an encouragement, not to ignore my pursuits. So all of these cards are saying, we know that you're really focused on work this week, but also remember, to take good care of yourself, to still make some wise choices. Maybe instead of scrolling on Instagram, you could take a few minutes here and there to learn some things. Also, don't forget about your passion projects and taking care of your property. Okay. How about impact? Now, this is the card I'm most interested in because, as I mentioned, I'm feeling the pressure this week to perform. And so, what do we get from the Tarot of the Abyss? Oh, well, I love the Star card. So the Star card follows the Tower in the Fool's Journey. And I always think of the star as a period of peace after the storm, which is kind of interesting for this week because it kind of feels like I should be in the storm, not in the peace after the storm. But I always think the card is a chance to ground yourself and connect with your inner sense of wellness. And, you can see this person is reaching up towards the light. And so I think that that's a really good message. I thought it was going to be 10 of Pentacles or something like that. It was kind of funny. I was sort of thinking, for example, pursuits, I was thinking, well, maybe I could get the Hangman because, this isn't the week for that. And for impact, I was thinking maybe I could get the 10 of Wands, or maybe the King of Wands or something, but I get the Star. So let me just take a real quick look at the guidebook here. See what it has to say. If there have been any major challenges in your life recently that have threatened to throw you off course, the Star card is here to provide you a sense of peace and security. Have faith in what the future will bring and try not to dwell on the problems of the past. There is something that stills the mind when we look at the night sky. It helps us put things into perspective. Time and experience have made you more resilient and capable. Wow. Powerful. And I would say that is exactly the message I needed to hear today to bring me into the week ahead. So, this is the last of the 8, and then we'll go into the archetype, which is I asked for a message of guidance for the week ahead. But first, adventures. So I told you I just got back from, there we go. I just got back from a great adventure, and I am feeling the energy of the world, I would say. The world is a beautiful energy. You can see here, this witch is tossing her hat up. She's enjoying a picnic with her cat. And I think that that's a great energy. And I think that it's also about savoring those feelings. And this is something that I always remind myself of is, when we make these financial investments in experiences and spending time with people we love, that it's not just that time, it's that feeling that we feel both in preparation for it, but after, like savoring the memories. So I feel like that adventure card is really about, savoring, holding those memories and bringing that energy into the week ahead, because, life is about balance. You got to work to be able to play. You got to take care of your things to have passion projects. You have to take care of yourself to learn and grow. Your prosperity is as important as your spirituality. So I think this spread is really a powerful message for me for the week ahead. So for the archetype, I just asked for some general guidance for the week ahead. The Temple. I think, when I think of a temple, I think of feeling quiet, grounded, connected. It is a place of stillness. It can be also a place of connection with spirit and yourself. And so as a message for the week ahead, especially with this expected chaos and I do think this is going to be a challenging week for me. But remembering that I can always come back to the stillness within me, and taking that time, the Refuge card, and the reminder of not losing myself in, I guess, to some extent, hopes and fears of getting everything right, or being less than, worrying about being less than, which can be a common thing for me in my work and my life. So this is a great week ahead spread. Some good messages for me. Typically what I do is, as I go into the week, I try to focus on one of these each day. I know there's not 8 days in the week, so in case you feel like you need to tell me that, I do realize that. But usually, like, work is kind of, it's 5 days, so I'll try to focus on something else as well. And so this week will be interesting because I'm going into really a 6-day week, because I am, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. I'm leaving on Sunday, so kind of a 5-day week, but very interesting. And my hope is to do a week ahead spread before I leave on Sunday. That's my goal. And if I don't, then I will do it maybe when I arrive on my business trip, but I don't know if I want to bring all these cards. So we'll see. My goal is to do it before I leave. So thank you for being here. Please like the video if you do. Subscribe if you're interested in hearing more from me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then.